What up racer, ItsJerone here and welcome back to AOR League Racing. Yes, AOR League Racing is back here on the F1 2021 game. We've been put in Tier 1 again as expected, and there are quite a lot of new people here. Some I've promoted from Tier 2 and also a few familiar faces who have stayed in Tier 1. Before this league race I had already completed 2 league races in FRL, so I sort of know again how it is to league race, but today it's a league race around Bahrain in the desert, and to be honest I'm really strong around this track. I really like this place, so I had quite high expectations coming into this race, and in general for the general expectations in the league, I am planning to go for the title, try and see if I can do that. I think I should be quite competitive here, so let's see if I'm actually capable of doing that. Anyways, we're already starting with qualifying, and first of all I'd done a banker lap on the mediums because I was not expecting to use 2 sets of mediums, and the 26.4 on mediums, when track is still quite green, is actually a very good banker. I think in the end my mediums lap might have been my best lap of the whole session. But anyways, with about 6 minutes remaining, I will set my first run on the soft compound double purple in the first 2 sectors, but my final sector was a bit scruffy, and in the end I put in a 25.3, only 100th behind Gabs in the Alfa Romeo. So as you can see, there are quite a lot of people that are opting for starting on mediums, or people that have not set a time at all will probably be aiming for P11. So I had committed to starting on softs now, because there's no way I'm gonna drop outside of the top 10 of course. So I just wanted to go for pole position, see if I can do it, and for my final run I actually left it quite late. As you can see, timer in the top right, only 5 seconds, and I will cross the line with only 2 seconds to go. So timed to absolute perfection with regards to optimizing the rubber on the track, the grip on the track. Anyways, coming into turn 1, hitting the apex very nicely on the power early, short shifting to 5th gear, and that was a very good complex of first turns. Braking just before the 100 meters, rather at the 100 meters, trying to get as early on the power as possible, and we're only already more than a 10th up on my previous time. Braking for this sort of awkward hairpin, I overshoot the corner a little bit, missed the apex, and I think on the previous lap I also missed the apex a little bit, hence I'm not really losing time, but there definitely was time there. Hairpin, pretty good, but on the traction I had a little moment of oversteer, which I was not too happy with, but still we are 2/10 up, and there should be a little bit of time in the final sector as I have a little lock-up going into the left-hander. Not really optimizing the traction then. Then for this right-hander, bit too tight on the apex, but I don't think it cost me too much time. We're still on for 2/10 improvement, double purple in the first sectors again. Then the final corner, I mess it up a little bit, hitting the inside curb, which definitely not where you're gonna find the traction, and losing about 800ths. But at the end of the day, it somehow still is enough to get pole position on a 25.1. And even though I wasn't happy ultimately with the lap, it's my first pole position in AOR, so I think I shouldn't complain too much. And as you can see, my teammates opting to start on the medium tires, and that's quite good because now we have mixed strategies. I was in voice comms with my teammates, so we knew what we were doing, and yeah, I have Gaps behind me, and then Tash, both new drivers, so I will need to be a bit careful in the opening stages to see what happens. For the strategy, I was a bit in doubt whether to do soft hards or soft mediums, but I think overall the best strategy for me was to do soft hards. Struggling a little bit with tire wear, but lining up on the grid after the formation lap, Nobody in front of me. Let's try and get a good start. As the 5 red lights stay on for quite long. And that's usually when I get good starts, if the lights stay on quite long. And this time I get an absolutely rocket ship launch. And we are clear, heading into turn 1, running a bit deep on purpose. That was a bit too deep, I guess, but we managed to stay away from everything that happened behind me. And immediately I get a warning for corner cutting, which is not very optimal. But I'm already 6/10 clear of Tash, and Cronexus had jumped Gabs. So this was an optimal start. I don't think I've ever had such a good start. I got amazing traction in 2nd and 3rd gear, and I was just gone off the line. Yeah, I was very happy with that start. So for now, I noticed that I'd already built a 9/10 gap to Tash behind. So at this moment I thought, well, if I have this gap anyways, let's just try and pull out of the 1 second window to try and make sure that nobody else can get DRS on me, and that I can essentially just drive my own race without having to worry about anyone. So I'm gonna keep the overtake on for quite a while down this little straight, and then I think also for the main straight here I will use quite a bit of, well, actually not too much, but nope, I'm still using something before the end of the lap. So yeah, more than a second ahead going into turn 1 for lap 2. Spotting the braking point nicely, hitting the apex, and as you can see now on the top left, I think Tash made a bit of a mistake here, and we gained 3 to 4 tenths only in that first complex of corners. So at this moment I really have a good lead, and I should probably think about trying to drive cleanly and oh no, this is just pure pain, and I spun on the left-hander, and that's absolutely not a curb you want to touch, because that can send you around. So as I said, I was in communication with my teammates and thought I could get ahead here, but yeah, I just misjudged the grip I had. Probably my tires were a bit too warm as well, so I'm not really sure what happened there. I think yeah, I don't know, it's just a bit too tense maybe. Yeah, I really have no idea. Anyways though, we have to make the best of it, as on lap 4 my teammate actually spins as well, so also not very optimal. And I have to say, of course, I was using some swear words that started with an F and ended on UCK when I spun, but I have to compliment myself for keeping incredibly calm afterwards as someone else spins. I think that's, no, it's not Cronexus, I'm not sure who spun there. It's McLaren, I think, but yeah, I was just driving and making sure to get back into a rhythm, and I'm still in the points, so it's not the end of the world. And I think, as you can also see by the length of the video, quite a lot will still happen this race, so I definitely had opportunities to get back into this race, try and score good points, and working towards points. That's exactly what we do as we overtake Pedro on the main straight quite easily with the use of DRS. Then a lap later I'm already catching up to Solid Ninja and, well, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce the name, but I'm gonna go with Star. Yeah, we'll go with Star, or just the Red Bull in general, might also be a good play. So got DRS for the main straight, which is very optimal, of course, as I actually set the fastest lap of the race, so clearly I still have the pace in this race, and I have good faith that I can fight back into this race. And for now, catching up to the first medium runner, I think Sastar is the first medium runner. So I was sort of debating what I should still do with regards to strategy, as we have, I think, No, it can't be Red Bull. I'm not even sure which car spun there, but one of the TRM guys had spun, and that promotes us another position. As I was trying to say, I was still in doubt whether I wanted to do soft hards or soft mediums, but since I was just essentially stuck in a 2-car DRS train here, I decided it would probably be the best strategy to just come into the pit lane, try and do an undercut, drive my own pace, and just see where I would come out in the end. So into the pit lane we go, braking nicely for the pit limiter, and on the exit we are down to P13, but unfortunately someone else in the McLaren on softs rejoins just ahead of us, which is a bit suboptimal, because it turned out during this lap he didn't exactly have the pace. And yeah, as I was asking Jeff, they're on old softs, 6 laps old softs, so I think my hards were definitely faster at this stage. As we also said, red middle sector, I think that sort of confirms that Elise wasn't exactly the fastest, as he's trying to weave a little bit, but ultimately he doesn't defend it too hard, as we just breeze past with the use of DRS and a little bit of ERS and easily get the move done. So back up to P13 now, and hopefully no more stops for the rest of this race. But then on lap 8 somebody retires, and I was in doubt what I should do at this point, but since I've only just got fresh hard tires on the car, I thought let's just stay out as one person pit, and well, everyone else I think was already past the pit lane entry, so nobody could come in that lap anymore. But nobody has caught up to the safety car yet, of course, so that essentially means that everybody in front of me has a free stop if they want to. I think all the soft runners made use of this opportunity, as there are so many people into the pit lane now, and we rejoin just behind Solid Ninja again in P8, so not exactly optimal. I was not hoping for a safety car at that point, and at the safety car restart I'm not exactly sure what Solid Ninja is doing, but he wasn't really keeping up with the pack at the moment where it mattered. So, and even here he's still trying to weave a bit, bringing a bit more temperature into the tires, and TRM K Victor judged that situation better than I did, and I sort of got boxed in immediately at the restart. And now somebody else is trying to go down my inside. That's Simu Rally Monster on fresh medium tires. So I've already lost 2 positions on the restart, as I now have my teammate behind me. And yeah, I wasn't particularly happy with how Solid Ninja was taking that restart. Being quite slow, already created a bit of a gap to the cars in front, but on lap 13 it's absolutely popping off now, because so many people were battling quite hard as Simu tries to go down the inside of Marcus, and now we try to go around the outside of Marcus in the Haas, but I can't really get traction and the minimum speed through that corner, so I have to stay behind for now in P10, as some people are already picking up time penalties. I'm already on 2 warnings, by the way, I think since lap 6, so I really have to keep it clean and make sure I don't get any more time penalties, as I have a little look down the inside of Marcus, but it was not really a committed move, so it also would have been a bit of a dive bomb if I really had to try to go for it there. But everyone was just fighting so hard, and we were losing so much time. If you look on the minimap, you can see there's a group of cars just pulling away from basically this whole group that we are creating here. So this is of course not very optimal when I want to make a comeback through the field and try to still get good points out of this race, perhaps even a podium. So not much I can do, and unfortunately here on lap 14 I do a little bit of a mistake actually, and sort of get a massive oversteer moment on the traction, and I said to my teammate, okay, you can go, and that's indeed what she is trying to do. She's trying to go down the inside of Gabs in the Alfa Romeo, trying to make it work, but I think they're both a bit conservative, and in the end Ralph sort of gets pushed onto the inside curb as TRM Kende got an insane run on me, so I sort of had to go down the inside of my teammate again in order to defend my position, but I actually managed to get the position completely. So we're back again ahead of my teammate, and I think immediately TRM Kende and Ralph try to go side by side with each other again, and I believe space was left, but I think Kende hit the inside curb of the right-hander, hence sort of bumped into the car of my teammate, and another safety car has been pulled out, and I thought, let's just go into the pit lane again, put on fresh medium tires. Those should easily make it to the end of the race, and in the end I got quite a decent stop, nothing spectacular, and I actually jumped Gabs in the pit lane, so it was quite fortunate. So it was a pit stop from P10 to P10 in the end. And an overview of the situation: first three drivers are all on hards, then there's Rally Monster on mediums, then sort of a mixed strategy between hards and mediums. And on the restart, this time I didn't want to get jumped by absolutely everyone, and this time I got a good run on TRM Cartel, so trying to tuck into the slipstream, going down the inside for turn 1 and side by side, and in the end Cartel actually gets quite a good run still, even though his run was also a bit compromised, as I'm not even sure what's all happening here, but the Haas is going down the inside of the other Haas, teammate's going to go down my inside, and in the end both my teammate and myself managed to get a double switchback on both the Haas cars, so netto I gained 1 position and my teammate gained 3 positions in 1 corner, so very good for the team, I guess. And also in what was all happening there, Bankai in the Ferrari got hit by one of the Haas cars, and it turned out he had diffuser damage in the end, which made his car very unstable. So on the main straight my teammate tries to go down the inside of Bankai, and I was sort of thinking about trying to follow, but I was a bit too far away and I didn't want to drain the battery completely, as my teammate gets the move done on Bankai, who's trying to fight back a little bit, but in the end doesn't really go for the move, as we clearly have the tire advantage now, because both my teammate and I are on fresh medium tires, whereas there are still quite a lot of people on older mediums and older hard tires, as Bankai runs a little bit wide, but I didn't really want to risk trying to go around the outside here, and in hindsight I probably should have done that, because, well, I'm losing quite a bit of time now actually, as my teammates already pulled a second away from Bankai, so ideally I would have liked to follow that. But watch this here, this is what diffuser damage does. It makes the car incredibly unstable, and Bankai nearly spins, but then he's just incredibly slow on the apex, which I was not really expecting. I thought I'd slowed down properly, but clearly I didn't, and that's an opportunity for Gabs to go down my inside. I tried to fight it again around the outside of the final corner, but I can't quite get the grip mid-corner, so Gabs gets the move done on me, and crucially we are still both stuck behind Bankai, which is a bit suboptimal, as I sort of have to think about attacking and defending at the same time, as Pedro is really close as well, although on this lap he made a mistake I think and dropped 1 second behind, as Gabs had a little look down the inside of Bankai there at the end of the 3rd straight around his place, third DRS straight. Well, it depends on how you see whether turn 1 or the main straight is the DRS straight or not. Anyways though, we are still behind Bankai, so I think Gabs clearly wanted to get past this lap, as you would probably also have noticed that Bank Guy was a lot slower. I think my pace was actually very equal to Gabs, as I thought about trying to follow Gabs immediately, but if I tried to stick my nose down the inside there, I think I would have caused a crash. Instead we just wait for the straight going towards turn 4, going down the inside, as we're still side by side midway through the corner, but my superior tire grip manages to pull me through, combined with the damage that Bank Guy had acquired from the incident with the Haas. So finally we managed to clear Bank Guy, and skipping a few laps later now, because essentially I'm now stuck in 4-man DRS train of first of all my teammate Ralph, then Gabs, then Solid Ninja, and then myself. Solid Ninja I think stayed out, or pit under the first safety car for mediums and stayed out. So I have to get past Solid as quickly as possible here, because I sort of need to be further ahead in this DRS train, as we actually have a McLaren at the front of the DRS train now, and also an AlphaTauri in form of Tash, who has picked up a 5-second penalty, but that was because someone essentially ran into the back of him under safety car conditions. So that one will get removed, and yeah, this is just a massive DRS train right now in the fight for P3. And my teammate is in prime position because she is in second place in this DRS train, with Sastar leading it right now in the Red Bull. Then it's my teammates, then it's Tash, then it's Gabs, then it's myself, and then it's Solid Ninja. And a lot of weaving here on the straight, and once again I just was not planning on draining my entire battery to try and go for a move early, as I had a little oversteer moment here coming onto second straight of the track, and as you can see everyone is essentially side by side with each other, as my teammate gets the move done on well, Sestar has already dropped back from P3 to P6 in the matter of a couple of corners really, as I'm now essentially sort of side by side with Sestar, but once again I decide not to turn on the overtake. So I'm still staying behind here in P7, really close to Sestar now, but I can just tell he was turning his ERS on completely, so I think this is quite an awkward corner to overtake on, so I decided to just wait for a little bit longer, as I will essentially have 60 to 70% ERS for the last lap, trying to get a good exit here in order to stay as close as possible to the hard runner of Sastar, who should have less tire grip at this moment. And for the main straight, trying to get a good exit, and I think I do. Not extremely optimal, but it's definitely good enough to work with, as Sastar's red light is flashing, hence he is below 10% ERS. Go down the inside, but I misjudged my braking point a little bit, and I actually make contact with the Alfa Romeo of Gabs. Fortunately, Gabs doesn't spin due to my incompetence on the braking, and somehow I do not have damage from that. I think I should have had damage from that incident, but apparently I don't. Anyways, next lap leading on to the final lap. This time I will hopefully get the move done again. This time though, Sastar is defending the inside a little bit harder, so this time I will try my luck around the outside, trying to get a little switchback on, and in the end I do manage to get the switchback, go down the inside again, as that's where you want to be for turn 4, leaving a bit of space around the outside, but I just had the better traction on my medium tire still, and get the move done for P6 in the race. And unfortunately, due to my contact with Gabs, I think we both missed out on an opportunity to try and overtake Tash. So in the end it is Rally Monster who wins the race ahead of one of the TRM guys. Then it's my teammate in P3. Then, well, I think Tash dropped back to P8 right now, but that 5-second penalty will be removed. Then it's Gabs, and essentially in 6th place it is myself. So this was a very, very hectic race where a lot of things happened, and ultimately my own mistake at lap 2 cost me the chance to fight for P1 or P2, and then due to me being essentially overtaken by Ralph when we got past the 2 Haas cars, that's where I lost the chance to go for P3. And I think ultimately when I was trying to overtake Bankai, I lost the opportunity to stay ahead of Gabs, who then managed to go down my inside. And also due to the contact I made with Gabs on the penultimate lap, I think we both lost the opportunity to try and overtake Tash. So I definitely am a bit disappointed with myself, because there was definitely plenty of opportunity to try and gain more points during this race, and ultimately I just messed up a bit. The race was very exciting though, but ultimately I would have loved to gain better points here in order to secure a better place in the championship standings. But unfortunately you can't win them all. We have to keep our head high and learn from this one, as there were definitely many learning moments in this race, and focus on the next one. If you enjoyed the video though, then I would massively appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye bye.